Today, I'm watching the video, Building an Underground Bunker? Avoid These Mistakes. Hi, I'm Harlan. I'm an engineer with over 20 years of experience operating and maintaining nuclear power systems. I don't know everything, but I do know how engineered systems actually fail, and I'm applying that to bunker design.
What we're going to do today, and I'm going to give you a list of things that I would do totally different if I were to build another underground bunker. So learn from my mistakes, because trust me, it's way cheaper. So when I bought this door, it has a digital keypad that you install right here. I never installed it. If you were to use a digital keypad and there were EMP blast or something, as many of you guys have commented, this thing would be fried. So I think I would do a little different door design, have it more manual, no electronics. So it's been about 3 years since the original construction video and when we put the bunker in the ground. So I see on this door, we've got a little bit of rust happening right here and up top. But again, this door wasn't meant for exterior use. So if you're gonna have an exterior facing door, you may wanna go with a little bit different design. Now I haven't been in here in a couple of weeks. So you guys are gonna see it just as I'm seeing it for the first time. I do like this door and entryway. However, I think what I would do differently is if you were going to use it for a nuclear fallout shelter, I think this would be a great spot to put a washdown area. So you're coming in from outside, you have an immediate spot to get clean before you go down into the bunker.
I'm glad he's thinking about decontamination because a lot of bunker builders just have the main entrance go straight into the kitchen. However, if you're going to do this right, you actually need two sets of doors. One that provides you just the basic protection from the outside world, and the other that provides protection for inside the bunker. And in between those two, that's where you do the decon.
And so first thing that's catching my eye, we've had a lot of rain lately, and I haven't been down here. We haven't been running the fan. We've got some condensation building on the roof of the entryway. But I think due to the fact we haven't had the fan on, I haven't been down here in so long, we've just got a little bit of kind of stagnant air buildup.
I don't think his problem is stagnant air buildup, and it's something that even the professional bunker builders miss.
And here's another thing I would do differently, because this is a head knocker. Now I'm just probably going to just put some Nerf, one of those pool noodle things up here so you don't conk your head off.
That head knocker is actually a bigger problem than he's making it out to be. If you're running in there in a panic when a tornado is heading your way, somebody's gonna hurt themselves. I would cover that thing with yellow and black caution tape and absolutely Nerf it with foam.
This was a first time build. I didn't know what I was doing. So that's the purpose of this video, is to show you guys, hey, this is what I would do different if I were to do it again. So I think probably the biggest change that I would make to the entire bunker is this is a 10-foot diameter piece of culvert pipe. And so what I did, I came in and put the floor 3 feet off the very bottom of the pipe. And that theoretically would give me 7 feet of headspace. But I'm only 5'8", and my head hits when you come down here. And then also you can see this light bar, I barely clear it. So I think I would recess the floor down at least another 6 inches, maybe an entire foot. But when I was building it, I wanted that 3 feet of storage for all the stuff that we have under the floor.
Storage is really a big design question. How much do you need to store? What are you actually planning for? If this is just a tornado shelter, then you need a little bit of food. You can fit that all in cabinets, you can give yourself a bit more headroom. If you're actually worried about fallout and might be down here for a week or more, then you're going to need a bit more. And no matter what you choose, you also need storage for after the event is over. Because unless you're planning on just heading to a hotel after the all clear sounds, you might be in this bunker for longer than you anticipated.
The next thing is drainage all around the pipe. So if you can see here, we've got a little bit of water that's been creeping in through the bulkhead. And I think what I would do different, I know what I would do different. I would coat this thing better with some type of water resistant paint, or maybe you'd want to tar the entire thing, or some type of membrane, but we just painted the outside with just a general exterior paint. And some of the welds, when they were welding the pipe, Obviously didn't hold all that good because we've got some water coming in here. And then I see a little bit of drainage problem right here where we've had some leaking from this seal that goes all around where the entryway connects to. Now this does have a gasketed rubber seal, but I think just in time it's settled a little bit and we've got some leaking. So I don't know, and maybe you guys can leave in the comments below what would be a good impermeable seal to put around this thing before we put it in the ground.
I'm sorry, but there is no impermeable seal, no magic solution for this other than keeping standing water away from the sides of the bunker. There are a lot of band-aids that you can put on that will delay the inevitable, but leakage is inevitable. Every mechanical engineer knows that every tank leaks. It's just a question of how quickly. Even the International Space Station has a design leakage to it.
Should have done something different there. And then one of the biggest pains in my ass has been not the bathroom itself, but the conduit that I ran down in here to run the plumbing and all of the electrical. We had a 2-inch piece of pipe that we ran down. It goes into the very bottom of the bunker. We backfilled around this whole bunker with rock in the beginning, and that conduit broke during the backfilling process. That allowed water to come in.
If you're going to put conduit in the ground, you need to bed it first in fine gravel. Otherwise, when you start putting rocks and weight on top of it, everything's going to shift and you're going to break it. I really feel bad for this guy. He tried to think of everything, but he still missed some things.
And this is another very important part. If you're going to put a bunker in, you got to have a drain, or if you're going to put a drain in, put it in the very bottom of the floor. So mine comes in like on the bottom of the pipe, but it comes in perpendicular to the wall. So if we were to have a leak, you're still going to have a little bit of water that's going to collect in the bottom of the bunker, and it's been an absolute nightmare with that conduit. We had to dig it all back up, run new conduit.
A sump? Maybe. Something that pumps out any condensation that you get? Sure. But a drain gives you a place for water to come in, not just out. And I really don't like the thought of having a drain inside your bunker.
So then down here, actually in the bathroom, this is my breather pipe. So we've got 2 breathers at each end of the bunker, and they're both at different levels to create a draft. So you can kind of get at least some natural airflow coming through the bunker. But either condensation or the breather pipe itself has developed a leak. And so we've got a little bit of staining coming down into the shower due to that. So I'm not exactly sure how to tell you guys to fix it. I'm just showing you problems that I'm having.
What happens in the heat of summer when it's really humid outside and the dew point is 75? The ground temperature is fairly stable year-round. Let's say it's 70 degrees. Any ventilation you have that comes into that bunker that hits the cold walls starts to condense. Your walls sweat, your ceiling sweats, every piece of metal touching cold earth sweats. Yeah, that breather tube, the water coming in is condensation. And there's almost nothing you can do about it unless you design for it, because physics doesn't care about your feelings. But there are some answers that actually work. One of which is take your air inlet piping and make a long run out of it and have it end in a dry well just before the bunker. That way, the air cools off to ground temperature and all that humidity condenses out and runs into the dry well before it runs into your bunker. If you don't have that stuff, the only answer is a dehumidifier and run it all the time, just like you had a wet basement, because that's what this is.
The other consideration you got to take in is what kind of flooring you're going to put in your bunker. Now I subfloored all this up with just, it's actually untreated wood. That's another thing, I would use treated just because of the humidity that you can get down here.
I'm not sure how I feel about pressure treated lumber inside an airtight bunker.
And then we just came in with this laminate flooring, but I think due to the humidity, You see how this is kind of buckling up right here? I'm not happy with that because we have to cover it with rugs just to keep from stubbing your toe.
But his problem here isn't the wood, it isn't the flooring. His problem is the humidity. You need to control that first, otherwise you have a whole host of problems. There is a huge psychological factor here that most people ignore, but I am glad that he has covered it so well. This bunker is really cozy. See the painting on the ceiling and the walls? See the ornate doors he has in the back? He has made this thing absolutely comfortable. If you were going to be trapped in this thing as a tornado is taking out your house, would you rather be trapped in a dirt submarine with beige walls, or would you rather have this beautiful sky painted on your walls and ceiling? Beautiful and ornate set of doors. Little bits of comfort that make you feel better during what might be the worst day of your life.
And then going back
doors
to
are
tie into
beautiful.
what I was talking about having some type of impermeable layer around it, or just
Oh my goodness,
much
that
better
mural
drainage.
on the back. Yeah, he actually planned this around people being able to live down here for at least a little while. I love it.
You can see that this bulkhead on this end has started leaking a little bit too. It's nothing crazy. It's not a ton of water that comes in. It doesn't flood the bunker or anything, but you can see the staining. So this is just a big mural thing that I bought offline, but you can see it starting to discolor
Yeah, that's an absolute shame. It is beautiful in there.
right here. So we do have a little bit of water leaking in. It'll drain out, but it's not something you want to have. You know, obviously you don't have any water coming into the bunker. We want it as dry as possible. So that's one of the most important things, is getting that water away from the exterior of your bunker and getting it away before it has time to find little weak spots and come in like it did here.
If only he had backfilled this thing with rock and provided proper drainage for it all, none of this had to happen.
And so another excellent point that you guys have made is we only got one way out, and that's the safe door. So again, I was built this for tornado purposes. This was not a safe house or anything like that. But if I was doing it all over again from scratch, I would do some secondary exit, just another way out.
You always need an emergency escape from a bunker or any enclosed space, especially when the kitchen is right next to your exit. You are one grease fire away from not surviving.
The one thing we did right was make this door to where it opens inside. So if a big tree, we did have a tornado, a tree fell down or something, the door opens to the inside. Now, I probably need to put a jack or a saw or some sort, just because even though you can get the door open, if a tree were to fall right there, you need some kind of tool or tool saw to move that tree out of the way. But the door opening inside, I think, is a plus, because if you had a door that opened to the outside, obviously that would be blocked.
I'm absolutely impressed. He's thinking about emergency egress. The door swings inward, so you can actually open it after an event, and then tools, jacks, shoring, stuff to actually push whatever's in the way out of the way.
And lastly, I've seen a couple other builds that used concrete, and I thought that was a great idea. So when we set the bunker down into the hole, I brought in a concrete truck and we dumped some on top. Well, obviously it's going to spill down. Well, what I didn't anticipate was the bunker trying to float up, which it did. Luckily, we had the excavator here and we quickly got the boom out there on it and held it down. But I think two things. One, bunkers will float in concrete, believe it or not. It pushed the thing right up off the ground.
It's an honest mistake that anybody could make if they didn't know any better.
But two, that concrete, since I only just poured it on the base, my thought was, something just to kind of seat this thing in the ground, to really hold it, to concrete it literally into the ground, something to really grab on and hold. But in doing so, I only put it along the bottom. And I think what has happened is we've got native soil, the compost that we added, water's going down through that material, hitting that thin layer of concrete and holding there. And I think that's adding to the drainage problem that we have, because that water's got nowhere else to go. It's going to find these weak spots and pop through just like it already has.
Yeah, he created basically a wicking garden bed around his bunker. What he needed was a bunch of crushed stone and to create a French drain around it with enough sump area underneath it that the water never comes up and touches the bunker. And then he either needs a sump pump to take that water away, or he needs an actual French drain that's going somewhere else.
So if I were to do it again, I think I would just use no concrete at all. Just use nothing but rock that goes down to a French drain type system that would just carry that water right away from the entire bunker. Well guys, that's going to do it for the bunker update. I sure do appreciate all the new subs that have come over. Appreciate everybody for watching my videos. If you have any suggestions or comments or want to know anything about the bunker, drop it in the comments down below and I will write back to it personally. Thank y'all so much. We'll see you on the next video.
Overall, I am really impressed. If you built a bunker like this, I would be proud of it. This bunker isn't perfect, but it gets a lot of things right. And the things it gets wrong are about the same as the commercial bunker builders. Everything about this can be fixed or at least made better. All things considered, I give this bunker 2 thumbs up. If you want me to take a look at his other videos, especially how he constructed this bunker, please leave a comment down below. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time.